Today, I'm going to read my mum's book. This was still in draft, and she worked a long time on this. This is a big part about her health, and it's better said by her. Now, I haven't read this before. This is going to be the first time, so I thought I would record it. The backdrop here is our lovely garden. The house might get a mention. It's Kanye House, I believe, in the book. Currently going through a bit of an awkward time. It was her house. Ultimately, we're still going through the inheritance procedure. I currently live here, but it looks like if my dad has his way, he wants to sell the property and seemingly make me homeless. But I personally don't think he's very well, and so it's all quite an ordeal. So while I've been given a letter this morning that tells me from him that he wants me to leave, with no other option at the minute. So I thought it'd be a good time. I took this video just now of the garden as it currently stands. So this was just a few minutes ago. And there's less than 100 pages here she's written. Now, this is going to have some opinions, quite strong opinions that she had. This had a lot of help from hopefully people she will mention, but we'll see. I'll touch on it at the end if not. I know a good friend like Catherine, for example, I believe is the main one that probably helped write this up for her. And Claire will say a lot of mistakes and errors and things that might be occurred. So my family personally has generally been separate from this book, but I know she put a lot of time into trying to explain her journey. So without further ado, my mother's book is called My Journey Through Hell and Back by Jane Willmott. And there's a really nice picture of her holding a lion cub at the front here. Now, I would like to get this published, but we shall see. I think it might need some adjustment. I think I'm just going to send it with what she said. You know, if there's some bits I think I need to edit, I might do, but I'd like to just do this as is. And we'll go through what she said. So my mouth is already a bit dry, so that's already not going to be good. So it's a bit different for my channel, but I wanted to document this, and I say down the line I want mine to get this published. I mean, I can see myself and my family are mentioned quite briefly in this, but it's going to start generally probably with her illness and probably focus quite heavily on her experience in hospital and some of her minor to bigger issues that she faced during the whole journey through hell and back, as she self-described. So she has dated seemingly a lot of this. So the front page here is acknowledgement on December 2006. This book is dedicated to my fabulously clever, talented neurosurgeon Richard Kerr and team from the Radcliffe Infirmary, Oxford. Also to my wonderful husband, William, family and friends, especially to my very special boys, Matthew and Thomas, to whom at times I have been unforgivingly rude and demanding in my world of despair and frustration. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thomas is only 13 years old, and Matthew, who is 20. I sincerely hope they have understood my world of despair. It's also called a living in hell, and the longest journey I ever made. I will also be always sincerely grateful to all, especially my care teams who have given me hope or inspiration, and to my loyal friends who are always there and listen, which is a very important factor in my recovery. This book is written with love and from my heart to help those who may be unfortunate enough to find themselves in the world and just commencing the longest journey they will ever encounter with a large mountain to climb at the end. But as I have shown, nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself. The mantra, I can, I will, I must, I do, I will, I have. I have a goal to aim for in my world, and this is to wake up with legs of mine and to become independent again and to get a life, as we all say. This will only start when I find some independence again, and I have only done by the time I finish writing. Actually opens with a beautiful prayer, is title. I'm not sure where this is from. She's actually given a link down here, actually on the page, and it's a picture of nearly what you're seeing with that oak tree in the background there. He says, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my shape to keep. Please no wrinkles, please no bags, please lift my butt before it sags. Please no age spots, please no grey, and from my belly please take it away. Please keep me healthy, please keep me young, and thank you, dear Lord, for all that you have done. This is a big cuddle from out the blue to let you know that I am thinking of you, and even though you have nothing to say, you know that I have thought of you today. Amen. With the bird then, but it was I did want to sit out there, but I think it'd be hard to get my setup currently to get me to do that. So this is the best situation, I think. It actually opens here now with a cover letter of her charity, which I believe her sister is intending to keep going. I'm not too sure about the details of that. Unfortunately, another big help with her charity, David Armitage, I believe recently passed away as well. So I know he was a big help with her, with helping her with her charity, as well as her sister. So I'm not going to go into this. I mean, I guess I can read the part. She basically set up a charity called Enable You, and this is empowering the disabled people. Enable You is a Northamptonshire work group comprising of 4 people, all of whom have had first-hand experience of living with disability. It is our aim to empower local people to live in their own homes independently and safely. In particular, the disabled or elderly. We aim to achieve this by providing information which is unavailable and hard to obtain for people faced with a disability in their lives for the very first time. I mean, she encountered a lot of people where they were disabled with a lot of the groups and things she ended up attending. Did all sorts of groups. I'm not sure what she'll mention in this, whether it's physiotherapy sessions or even like sort of IT courses she did, right? But she ended up, I think, coming into contact with quite a few people who didn't really have the care they needed, and it was kind of her goal to try and set that straight in some ways and help people, and she was quite occupied by that through to the end of her life, really. Now, there's no date about that. It's just a slotted in sort of telling you about the charity there, but it's not actually like a formal page. So, history of events, the beginning of my journey to hell is the title here. I'm starting to lose my sight and balance, so I go to see an optician called Fran Howell. She then refers me to see a consultant ophthalmic surgeon. I'm not sure what that means. I can't tried with that, but I'm not too sure. In Kettering General Hospital, and I there immediately receive a CAT scan. Unfortunately, I was then asked to sit down and told that she was very sore to tell me that I have a brain tumor the size of a grapefruit, which is affecting my sight, and he would recommend a referral to a neurosurgeon at Radcliffe Infirmary in Oxford. I didn't realise. I do remember her saying that, but yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, Mrs. Howell, she was a lovely optician. We used locally, very good. I think Imagine's quite well known within our town. Wow, it was her that noticed it really through her eye. That's quite incredible there. I don't know what they can see, but there you go. Wow, okay, so there you go. So if there's a reason to go and see opticians, there it is. November 1993. Appointment to see Mr. Richard Kerr, Oxford. It doesn't actually say a date she saw Mrs. Howell. Maybe she was a bit blurry on that. Maybe presume it was this time, I don't know. But we're in November 1993. Appointment to see Richard Kerr, Oxford. Drop dead gorgeous, lovely guy. Little do I realise that he's going to be a very long relationship indeed. The beginning of a huge life-changing experience for me and my family. And little do I realise what an enormous impact it will have on our lives for years to come. With many life-changing experience for us all. In December 1993, MRI scan followed by a 14.5-hour operation to remove part of my tumour was diagnosed as a benign meninoma, which is pressing on my optic nerves and therefore affecting my eyesight and hormones. Luckily, the operation which followed had no effect on my coordination skills. The tumour is inoperable, and as the carotid artery is within the whole tumour. Trust me, never mind. I was home for Christmas, but tragedy strikes once more. My father-in-law died unexpectedly during this time. My poor husband and family. Unfortunately, I'm losing my balance, and while squatting downloading a VCR tape, I fall, hitting the back of my head hard on the edge of a sofa. I had noticed a problem with my balance and trying to get in and out of the bath. and also during gym classes, especially the balance where I could not stand on one leg without holding a solid object. In this case, one of the pillars holding up the building, but I just ignored the problem and carried on the best I could, hiding my disability in a bottle of Caramel and Sauvignon every day, which was starting to worry me. Was I becoming an alcoholic? If so, why? What excuse had I got? Bless her. She did before she was. I guess it's a good time to mention it because we're on that topic, and I don't know if she'll mention it again. But I do distinctively remember, uh, with all this in mind, she did drink, yeah, quite heavily with wine, and I think it was also quite mixed in with paracetamol. I'm not sure what else. Okay, I was very young at the time, but I do distinctly remember it was quite a common thing. I mean, I wouldn't have said it initially affected her, but presumably it was obviously being depressed or through probably her diagnosis and how she was feeling. So quite understandable in many ways. But after falling and hitting my head, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had a massive fit, which caused me to fall from my bed on the floor. Yeah, so this was with my dad. Yeah, so that was it. So this is the start of where her kind of life changed, I guess, in terms of her physical side. At least for me, this was, I guess, where it was more notable. I was born in 1991, so it kind of started at the beginning here with 1993. Just, I would have been like 2 years old. But here, after falling my head, when had she said this? It's kind of led on from 1993. I am not sure. I would have said this would be like mid 90s because I do vaguely remember this, and I can picture the house and what it was like and what we were doing. And where I was when we had the ambulance in the house, which is what she's going to go into now. Because I had actually, so I guess me before going into this, while I'm yapping on it, I guess I actually remember I woke up, I overslept because it was a school day, right? I overslept, and I remember I was like, looking at the clock, and I was like, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock, what's going on? And yeah, parents aren't there, and I think my brother was there. Maybe my brother was in bed as well. So we were both just kind of in bed, and I think we eventually found out whether it was through my uncle or someone told us what was really going. Maybe it was one of my grandparents, my mum's mother, maybe informed us, but I'm not sure. But I do know, I distinctly remember that, and I didn't really know the severity of the situation. Obviously, none of us did. And that ultimately be probably the last time I see her for quite a long time. Actually, there was nothing really leading up to that. I don't think. It was just very notable. She was drinking quite heavily, and she was definitely having paracetamol like every day. Like at least 4 paracetamol every day, if not more. Maybe 2 tablets in each dose as well. Right, so quite a heavy dose. She always complained she had a headache, which I can imagine. If it was the tumor or whatever, pressing on her brain. So yeah, so there we go. Okay, so there we go. After falling and hitting my head, I woke up in the middle of the night and had a massive fit, which caused me to fall from my bed on the floor. I was then rushed off to a local hospital in a blue light ambulance to the A&E department, followed by a transfer to the Radcliffe Infirmary in Oxford to see my neurosurgeon Richard Kerrigan, to whom I undoubtedly owed my life to, and he will always be my hero. Thank you for having such a wonderful gift. I would entrust my life as incapable hands several times into his team. I donate 10% of the proceeds of this book, and should I manage to publish it, he is a wonderful, caring man, and thank God for these people and their courage, determination, and loving care. I had a further operation to remove the tumour to try and save my eyesight, but unfortunately I became hemiplegic and paralysed down my left-hand side, unable to sit with some sort of support or use my left hand. I haven't seen my fingers again to this day, 11th November 2013 in brackets. However, I am stretching it with the help of Lycra second skin splint, and I have never opened a hand or straightened my fingers again. However, I am able to enjoy cooking and going out socially with the use of my teeth and right hand. Using teeth is not a good idea, and now in the future I'm using my strengthened quad muscles above my knees. I find I am able to open bottle tops quite easily. We have several wheelchairs which have been provided for medical loans, part of the local hospital. My indoor power chair took considerable mastering to be totally competent and safe, i.e. not running anyone over or any of our pets. This is granting me my independence, and I have an outdoor power chair provided by the family to take into the garden, which I adore. She was very much into the garden, you see. Although it was a very terrifying experience at first, I visited the inside of many bushes. Don't laugh, although it was horrifying at the time. Privet is not a nice bush to be stuck in, and I got myself out and did no damage. In a small way, this mishap gave me the confidence to carry on. When did she fall in a bush? God, I'd have to ask my brother about that. Again, I'd almost like to put in an insert about it because, yeah, she did. It was quite fun. I think it was when we were going out to a restaurant and there was a tight car parking space. Maybe it was still a disabled space. There wasn't always, in some of these smaller pub areas, right, there's not always like a disabled sort of access, or it's a bit tricky. And bless you, early days, her balance wasn't always the best. Anyway, since then I visited Burley International Horse Trial, Stamford, Lincolnshire, numerous country steam rallies in the local area, where even I managed to get in the front row of the Punch and Judy show. There I met so many old friends, all of whom had said how it was lovely to see me getting out and about, and and that we all have wonderful lasting memories of our days shooting together. What wonderful memories they are with my horses, dogs, and life on the farm. I've been very lucky and privileged lady, having fields as a garden. It is my world, and not the 12 months imprisoned in four walls, which I detested. I also detest my bed and armchair. I have not been brought up to be lazy. I can do this, and I will do that. I will create the future memories. Yes, that's like a motivational little quote she had there. I was transferred from the Radcliffe Infirmary to Royal Buckinghamshire Hospital, Aylesbury, to then Stoke Mandanville, Buckinghamshire. 2 weeks after the operation, I was off to Kettering General Hospital. This was a start of further deterioration. Is that what she said? Deterioration. Deterioration. No physical therapy, no occupational therapy, and I've been dumped in the corner of a dirty open ward. That said, she's not going to be, it's going to be quite critical of some of these parts. Eventually, I was shipped off to the flagship rehabilitation hospital, Beechwood, Wellingborough. This was to become my living hell in the centre of total despair. I can only describe this place as living hell. The Beechwood diet consists of suppository every day with no one to take you to the toilet. There was always too busy when you needed a bedpan or to be hoisted onto a commode. There was a diet of total which was very good for losing weight, and 2.5 stones to be precise, rapidly. Never mind. Follow up with fiber gel. Bowel movements became a great problem, and it took a long time to rectify this. I like home cooking with fresh vegetables and fruit. I visit from Secretary of Health John Hunt and gave the staff inspiration to show the face of care. Fantastic example of underpaid and overworked personnel. There was no occupational therapy or physiotherapy on a regular basis. If I could have these, what a difference this would have been to my rehabilitation. I have never ever shed so many tears and suffered so much despair as I had in this place. What a cruel place this is, with couldn't care less attitude of its job, with just a job attitude. This place became the epitome of inhumanity at its worst. I determined to show them that I will get a new life. I will not give in to this. I can walk again. This is not going to beat my family or me. Quite strongly worded, as I say there. You'll touch on Beechwood again. See, her experience is going to be from a different point of view, right? It was a very hard time in that sort of time. I can't really say for how long she was really in there. To her, it probably felt like eternity, but in reality, I don't think she was in there for very long at all. I would dare say, so this is kind of skipped a bit. She kind of skipped a bit here, but I wonder if we're going to go back at all. So I guess bits of her, this is what she remembers. Okay, she going back to Beechwood realizations. It does come back to it. So, like, initially she was in Oxford, and I guess it's probably best to probably describe, like, the first time I visited her after her fit, and she had basically been rushed to hospital, right? The first time I visited, it might have not been for like a week or two. I mean, we didn't really get the idea of, she'd gone from a very normal mother in many ways, to me at least. So when I arrived, as she described, she was paralyzed down her left-hand side. But not only that, I don't think she really recognized me or anyone that came to visit her. Whether it was the drugs or something, I'm not sure. But either way, she couldn't verbally communicate. The initial communication that we had at this point was that she would bang a cup on a table. That was kind of it. I don't think at this time, I don't think she recognized me in the hospital at all, because I don't think she liked me at that time. And the same can be said for when she was then moved to Beechwood. I don't really remember being that verbal. She definitely was in a frightened state, that's for sure. But when we were there as, say, family, she didn't know who we were. And I think almost some of this kind of confirms this to me, that she kind of probably doesn't remember us there. I'm not too sure. Maybe she does. Maybe she does remember. But like, I remember her, particularly at Beechwood, her screaming for me to get out of the room on one of the visits that we were there. And I think it's just because she probably thought I was staff or something. I don't think she knew who I was. But it's interesting. This is obviously from her point of view. I mean, I'd have been like 10 years old or something at this point, or 10 years old or less at that point. And she was in hospital for quite a few years, I think, before. She was in Oxford for at least a year or so, I believe, until she at least went to the Beechwood. So again, there's quite a few years here that she was there, I suppose. It's kind of shortened down there. But anyway, my sort of side of it. So here we go. It says, at home, William has dismantled the boys' playroom and office to make room for the bedroom with a toilet and shower opposite. I'm ready to exist again. We've converted the shower room into a wet room with a shower chair for medical loans to enable me to wash. The occupational therapist wanted to convert the sitting room into a bedroom for me, otherwise I was not coming home. We would not allow this, as we had a good alternative which worked well and given the rest of the family and me privacy. Yeah, that was kind of the start of when she came home. I live on a busy arable farm in the small bespoke village where I'm active partner in the business. I drove a tractor and trailer when it was needed, and the farm secretary, accountant, and mother of two small boys, Matthew 23 and Thomas 16. I was super fit and rode my horses daily. I had a star performer, Charles. I was 34 years of age when I discovered this tumor and not ready to retire. Ironically, my birthday was a couple of days ago, and it's her birthday tomorrow. It would be her birthday tomorrow, but I am actually just turned 34, so there we are. I miss active life, living the most beautiful part of Northamptonshire and being able to get up a grass field with my outdoor power chair with Jessica, my black Labrador, to continue her training as a gun dog, who I initially trained and who was wonderful. I had been given a privileged life, enjoyed picking up game for Ashby Shoot for 14 years. Nobody can take away my fabulous memories. I'm also qualified medical secretary, personal assistant. I worked in a local hospital and medical secretary for a consultant microbiologist and a consultant for a hematologist and occasionally for a home office pathologist. I then took a position as a personal secretary to company director for strategic planning. I enjoyed starting my own business, selling preserves, homemade pickles and homemade puddings in the farmers' markets with the support of my husband, and had his own website. Had my own website. I was travelling to London every weekend to maintain the business, as well as visiting Royal Marsden Hospital to undergo 6 weeks of specialist radiotherapy, stereostatic, to try and slow down the growth of the tumour. Even though it is not malignant, I was 48 years old. Again, so this would have been just before her actual injury on that. Yeah, so the preserve business was very good. So she had like the kit. She was very well known for like doing a lot of the sort of like the cream teas and things to farm. I had like a little side business, like sort of selling fruit, selling strawberry fruit, pick your own fruit. A little side business where we had a field or two set up selling strawberries and raspberries. and she was a big hand in making a lot of the sort of jams and that sort of thing. And I think it kind of spurred from there that she decided that from the feedback she had gotten from the sort of strawberry fields and the jams and things and the cream teas that she had been doing, or the farm had been doing, because obviously there was others involved with my family members, but she had a big focus and I know she enjoyed it. That from there, I think that's where this started selling preserves, and she was regularly going down to London markets and selling them. It did quite well, from my understanding. I do distinctively remember hanging around in these places in Christmas time. Very nice to hang around. I didn't really know where we were at the time. Again, I was sort of probably about 7 years old, so I'm not really sure what was going on. But very busy atmosphere, and there we are. And a lot of the recipes were actually then from her mother, I believe, which I'm not too sure what we're doing. Must have them somewhere, but a lot of sort of preserves, sort of traditional British preserves and pickles and that sort of thing, and jams, and yeah, people love that. Anyway, so the next part here, it goes into stereostatic radiotherapy. This was a pioneering procedure at the Royal Marsden Hospital, London. It used to deliver radiotherapy carefully at the specific points of my brain to give continually. A circular bespoke metal frame was made for me to wear whilst lying on the radiotherapy bed, which allowed them to attach me to two posts, one either side of my head, so to keep me still in the exact position required for directing the radiotherapy into my brain onto the Pacific area. This led me some of my hair falling out on the frontal lobe. The staff were all kind, and I was fully informed at all times it was happening to me. I was able to walk out of the hospital at the back and back to the car unscathed. This procedure did not shrink the tune enough to particularly remove some of the pressure from the optic nerve, enabling me to recover some of the sight I lost from my right eye. This had been frighteningly total loss. This would harm the surface of the tumour, but hopefully restrict any future growth, which could make it harder to operate on again, but would hopefully help stabilise it in the rubbish. Is that what it really goes? It would hopefully help stabilise it in the rubbish, but which was very good for not losing weight, and 2.5 stones to be so rapidly. Oh, have we got 2 pages mixed up here? It goes 9, 10, and then 9. 10 again. Okay, so I don't know if some pages have been taken out here. My suspicion. My dad's taken some pages out. Because it goes 9, 10, and it goes back to 9, and it goes to rubbish, but I think this it's different category. In fact, this is what we've just read about her time in Beechwood. It's almost rewritten. I was super fit and rode my horses. This is like rewritten here again. Okay, so actually no. Okay, so it's in here twice. Okay. Okay, so the procedure did not shrink the tumour enough to particularly remove some of the pressure from my optic nerve, enabling me to recover some of the sight lost from my right eye. This has been frighteningly total loss. Okay, I'm almost wondering. I haven't got a pen. That needs marking. So, okay, so there is a bit of an odd page there. This would harden the surface of the tumour, but hopefully restrict any future growth, which could make it harder to operate on again, and hopefully stabilise in the future. Hopefully, fingers, toes, and everything crossed. Even my gun dog Jessica has her front paws, a terrible habit that she has been probably not good on her circulation. There goes obviously helping me. She did develop this weird paw crossing at the end. Bless that dog. And yeah, we were told it's not good for her, but she is a very good dog. So here we go. So it says July 2003 to 2004, Beechwood Rehabilitation Centre. Was it just 1 year? Some of it feels like an eternity. Okay. I'm being... Some water. I'm being transferred to the worst rehabilitation centre in the world, and it's called Beechwood. A relatively new building in the grounds of Islebrooke Hospital, Willingwood, the flagship rehabilitation centre of Ketchum General Hospital, run by the NHS Primary Care Trust. On arrival, it was apparent that it was full of some very depressed and unhappy patients. The facilities were modern, the support staff the impression of not very nice, couldn't less careless attitude towards patients. All the doors and rooms had blue handprint, which later on I discovered was an indicator of MRSA, and used barrier used to this. And to be a barrier nurse, this also applied to me after a short time. The whole building felt sad and depressed, and I was soon to find out why. Beechwood is the epitome of inhumanity, and we couldn't kill it. He said this again. Most of the patients are immobile and stroke victims of all ages, resulting in some having to be on feed pegs. I was initially shown a very nice room with integrated kitchen, shown the dining room and physiotherapy room, which seemed to have only a table, wobble board, and some form of wooden rack, which I later used in my physio. I felt very alone and scared in some sort of way. I was lying flat on my back in the bed, unable to get a drink, switch off a light, or totally immobile. Then I suddenly heard a big bang. The ceiling shook and the windows shook, and I felt a painful cry for help, help. It sounded as if someone had fallen out of bed. On the floor above, which was part of the Rose Court nursing home, the floor above was occupied by an elderly respite patients with their own flats. I was very concerned that the person who had quite obviously fallen out of bed and constantly calling out for help. I'm totally immobile. I rang my call bell several times before a surly, miserable, tattooed, covered man arrives. He has been a support worker in a prison and had a hard attitude to care. After making me aware of my concerns, he replied with, "Only Doris falling out of bed again. She's a nuisance, nothing to do with us or me." I pleaded with him to ring the nurse's station above us to ask for help. "What if it was your mother? Wouldn't you want someone to help? I'm too busy and she's nothing to do with us. You needn't call again, as no one will come as you sit here and decide to let you out." I was paralysed, alone, and frighteningly not near a call bell, and this wasn't the only abuse they dished out so freely. Physiotherapy was very little and held in torture chamber. The only apparatus in the small That's such a... This is, I'm just writing this as she wrote it. Physiotherapy was very little and held in a torture chamber. I presumably it was a small room or something. I just wonder that she kind of goes in on this. The only apparatus in the small physio room was a wooden stretching machine and a hoist machine to the ceiling. The hoist straps were then attached to my legs, round around my calf muscles, and then my left paralyzed arm was put on the table. They made me stay on a hoist for 20 minutes and then hoist me onto a wobble board to help improve my balance while I was still in the hoist. Only resident physiotherapist Michelle Tate, one day she told me, "If you don't let me stretch your legs, you will be like an old lady with pigeon legs and you will never ever walk or stand again. You are old." Now, after some real care and neurological help, as I sit here and write this chapter, I can walk into Sainsbury's. I can walk into Sainsbury's and I can swim. This is and swim, which sounds like she's walking into Sainsbury's for a swim, which is probably the best. How wrong she was, and I heard her say this to a stroke victim who had completely given up. What right had she to take a person's life away from them? My thought was she can cough, and I became obsessed with being able to walk. I became very depressed in Beechwood, and I was unable to eat the positively disgusting chill and cooked food, if you can call it food. I was losing weight rapidly. We were weighed twice a week on various scales. A dietitian was called in and recommended that I choose the vegetables I wanted from the table. What a joke. There was none. All the food came chilled in the bowl, tipped down onto my plate, all the mushed up and tasteless. I dreamt of eating fresh vegetables, which were selling in our soft fruit shop. That's kind of what I said about the farm shop. One day, the sister in charge of the unit became very agitated because I couldn't eat the rubbish on my plate. She grabbed the back of my manual chair and frog pushed me down a corridor and locked me in a room as my punishment for not doing as I was told. She left me paralyzed in a room with no access to a call bell and told me, "You will stay here for as long as I decide, and no one is coming to help you. You're on your own." I was very frightened. I was being punished for not eating total rubbish. Even a jacket potato would be black throughout, and there was just a choice of baked beans and cheese with yellow lettuce on the side. For pudding, there was a choice of jelly and ice cream and vitamins and nutrients and no object, obviously. The good news was that I was left after 10 months in what can only be described as living hell with so many tears and pleas shed, please take me away from here. I can sincerely say that I have never been so frightened for my life when I was there. Surely this should not have been the case. We're still all the same staff today in November of 2013. It is still full of sad abused people. Surely this should not be allowed to continue. Today I can walk up and down steps, and thank goodness that I have never been one to do as I am told. Thank goodness that I am walking. That walking was down to me and finding myself a fantastic neurological physiotherapist. Privately, our local hospitals do not provide this service. I wear occasionally a painful electronic walk aid to stimulate my toes on my left foot so they can lift when I walk. Fabulous, and today I can pick up my left foot and walk without it. I can wear a skirt, dress or shorts on holiday. I'm independent and love my new life. I am naturally a very positive person. This has been instrumental in my starting a new charity, which was called Open Roads, but is now called Enable You. Enable You provide technology and information to enable disabled people to live their own lives in their own homes independently, learning from our own experiences. I have walked a very long road, but have arrived at my destination. I am free and you can be, but it will cost you pain and tears along the way, but you can overcome it all and be free again. I owe this to my darling husband, William, and my special loving boys, Matthew and Thomas, who have picked me up off the floor on the way so many times. Thank you, I love you all dearly, and we'll share this new life of mine. Beechwood, I'll never forget the scars you left on my soul. You were the epitome of living hell, a damned uncaring place that no one should endure. I'm so lucky you had the resources to find John Graham at the physio function, who specialised in an innovative physiotherapy and provided me to walk aid, and also tried to help me with my paralysed left hand by using electrodes. The Hard Truth, November the 12th, 2004. Follow-up letter from Mr. Richard Kerr telling me the truth about my situation. I was delighted to see you at the Manor Hospital. I was delighted to see how much progress you have made. It was really wonderful, but I understand the frustrations and your natural wish to get home. I have reviewed the scans, and these certainly show a very significant reduction in the volume of the tumour that is present, but it also shows that the blood supply to the right-hand side of the brain has been compromised, hence the weakness you have on the left side. Although I am still hopeful that we will see further improvement, I am afraid the longer the difficulty persists, the less chance that it will improve. Mr. Richard Kerr. It's November 2004. So again, that's kind of, she said she was writing this in like 2013. It's now 2025, beg your pardon. June the 13th, 2025. I don't know when I'll upload this. Probably on her birthday, which is tomorrow. June the 14th. Sunday the 1st of July 2007. Fabulous and 50. Well, it's not actually my birthday today. The 1st of July, I say that's about 15 days after, whatever. It should be the 14th of June 2007, but as his history dictates, it's always rained, and so it is my prerogative. I decided to hold my party to celebrate my birthday and our belated 31st wedding anniversary, which was on the 24th of February 2007. This party will be thankful for those friends who stuck with us through thick and thin, supported us in our massive hour of need, and also supported my boys. We are truly grateful, and we have been to hell and back, but are now running down the road to get truly home. So today we thank you, and we'll always enjoy ourselves. I decided that we would have a hot sit down for lunch, 35 in the garden party marquee, the one we used to use in the soft fruit farm. Approximately 10 minutes before guests arrive, we assemble the marquee near the patio of the cottage. I have filled the hollow wall with many pots of the summer bedding. We have mown the lawn several times. It looks great. As I did not wish to spend the day cooking, I had ordered a whole lamb. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, but she did, yeah. Which was cooking on a spit, roasted, organised salad, strawberries and cream, and asked my friends to bring along puddings, all of which were stored in the chiller trailer park near the garden, along with all the wine and champagne. At the last minute, we hired some go-pack tables and smart green screens from the village hall. I cover it all with scattering tablecloths and it looks fabulous. We are so lucky that the sun shines and the ambience is great. The food is terrific and being at the home of friends was such a wonderful feeling. There was a time whilst in Beechwood that I'd begun to dream about being at home, and this is my dream come true. I'd recognised staff who would normally work in the farm's soft fruit shop. They served, clear away and wash up for me. I was family party, we had all helped. Thomas and I had sorted out putting the cutlery into place, setting as well into the napkin before the evening. He did, this is boring, why do we have to do it? Well, if we don't, we won't have anything to eat with. I probably did. William had bought a 20, it's probably because there's a lot of people. William had bought a 25-kilogram bag of potatoes from the local nursery and our fruit and veg merchant. We cooked 40 of them, all in my jam pantry preserving pan. Everything is served on top of the dining table. The house guests help themselves. My brother carves the lamb, and we have a homemade mint jelly served with the lamb, which presumably she would have made, and it would have been my grandmother's recipe, or her mother's recipe. It was a truly amazing and wonderful happy day, and the next time I'll walk everywhere. I can stand now, but this feeling of happiness and fun is something that has been missing from my life for far too long. No more, it's onward and upward until I'm really truly home. Got to get big wiggle on now and get back home on top of this mountain that is at the end. I feel like this, I like this feeling of normality and independence with loads of happiness. Two special friends are with us today, Angela and John, who have been to every hospital and inspired me to go on and not give up. They brought me inspiring little presents, nail varnish and matching lipstick, and stayed putting on me. This small gesture made me feel attractive again and brought much happiness into my life. All in all, a fabulous day. To top it all, we had a fly past from the Red Arrows Blades team from Sywell Aerodrome, who practiced their air displays over constantly. Well-timed blades. It did rain, but only briefly, and after our dinner had finished, we rolled the sides of the marquee down and it did not spoil anything. John jumped over David's shoulders to push the top of the marquee lining up to move the water and it collected. Come on, Jane. Wriggle on, Jane. Get a move on. Wriggle all the way and get over there, that mountain. No more shuffling. Wriggle up, tits up, bum in, walk it, and there's a new world awaiting. Get on with it. Rock on. Sunday, the 2nd of January, 2008. Titled Suffolk. We were all invited for Sunday lunch to visit two of our close friends, Rachel and Jeff, in their new home, which was a classic Suffolk cottage with numerous steps and narrow hallways, but was a low ceiling scattered with wooden beams to knock ourselves on. I can and I will do this, and I did. I was so thrilled to have travelled comfortably and walked into their wonderful picturesque home, sat in a normal chair in their sitting room. I usually find some furniture is too low for me to stand up from, but this was total bliss. It was bliss to sit in front of a wood burner with a drink and nibbles and to be part of a party and not sit in a manual wheelchair away from the party. This has been a fundamental step for my journey and total realization into the real world. This will carry on, I will, and I must. 5 years on, the longest journey ever. If I can, you can, and we all can climb the mountain together. I have my husband, sons, and friends, and should need I help. Thomas is now 16 years old and has told me, I know you are much better, but please be careful, Mum. We don't want any more tragedy. Because of her balance, right? I probably did say something along those lines. I know I still have a brain tumor, and if it were to fall, that would be at the end, and I decided this will not happen, but I must be extra careful to look after myself because I am not prepared to lose this road and independence. I am slowly getting there, and all this gain to fall would be the end of the story. I try my best for all our sakes, and thank God every day for the chance I've been given. There are far people worse than me, and I truly hope it's not you, but no matter, as my friend Judy would say, tits up, bum in, trot on. Well, Judy, my tits are up, although I could a bit larger than when I started. I have trotted on, and now I'm catering to the mountain towards what I hope is the end of the long journey. All of us must keep our tits up and bottoms in, otherwise we may fall off. That mountain's top is getting closer, the road is short, and I have had my head up, marching on towards the top of the mountain. I will not stop until I stand there. Yippee. December 2008 to 2nd of January 2009. Gave up my wheelchair to walk into the medical centre. Absolutely fantastic. Upwards and onwards, move it, Jane, get on with it, says John Graham, the physio function, my new neurological physiotherapist, who said, you can walk, get out of your chair. Just the big push I needed. Thank you, John. On Sunday, the 2nd of January 2009, the end of the journey. I walked! Exclamation mark. I have left my chair in the car to walk into the medical center. I have got to the near end of the journey. I'm exhausted both mentally and physically, but I'm at the top of my mountain. Thank you for your help and inspiration. I can stop grieving for my legs and get on with the new life in this, my 52nd year. I will walk around this farm and fields, and have been a love of my life and have been to get on with. I am not going back. That would be extremely selfish to my family who have suffered by my side. I am so sorry to do this to you, especially my loving sons. Tom is growing up so fast. It's not fair, Mum. Why have this happened to us? You have been ill all my life. No one should have to had this. Probably did, yeah. It's get interesting. That's I'm being quoted here. This was probably when I was quite upset. And it would definitely been in the old house. And it might have been to do with the care team and things. It was a bit overcrowded for us in there. Fortunately, it's not just us. There are many more. I know it's not fair to have your active fit life taken away when you're only 48 years old. We can all cope when adversity is thrown at us. Dig deep to gain your strength. Make the most of what you have. Grasp your life with both hands while you're still able to. Do not put things aside one day. They will maybe not do it later. Do it now. As I tell my family, I've had a hard life. My father, aged 48 years old, was killed in a farm accident when I was only 10 years old. My brother was the age of 8 and my sister was 2. I have not suffered enough. Why me? Why now? My mother has cancer and Alzheimer's. Whatever it takes, I must do this for all of us, especially my little Thomas, who has been hurt so very much. I'll never forgive myself for what I've inflicted on our family. Never, ever. It's a weird one, right? It's upsetting. I've told people about my story before, and they've just cried in front of me. I'm like, oh, it's not good, eh? This is not good, eh? Bless her heart. Right. It's yeah. So I don't know if she didn't go into. She briefly mentioned that her father here passed away on the farm in, I believe, the field you're looking at, but don't quote me on that. But I believe he had an agriculture accident in the field you're looking at, I believe. Yeah, with a baler. Without going into more detail. But yeah, for such a young age. I actually thought she was 15. She says here she was 10. Must have been horrific. Absolutely horrific. I don't know when I found out about that. Didn't know about that for a very long time, personally. No one had ever mentioned it. No one had ever mentioned that, but obviously they all had to witness it. Yeah, crazy. I don't know if she'll touch on that again. Possibly not for about halfway through here. Unless we're at 48 minutes, that's not too bad. But still, I guess it was a bit more. 22nd of October 2010, Odell Village Hall. Today, Friday, a very sad day when we attend the memorial service of our 22-year-old man who has lived 22 unforgettable years with cystic fibrosis. Always happy and died in his sleep. I stand when appropriate with everyone else in church, when I sit in my wheelchair as there is not enough seats. We went to Odell Village Hall for the wake. Through a rough farmyard to the hall, up to the bumpy hallway. I walk into the hallway ground packed with 150 people. Astounded many friends that I hadn't seen for a long time from my shooting days from the Ashby shoot. I sat and stood and used the toilet independently. I am most certainly at the top of my mountain, and I am home now. 8 long, painful, tough years, but I am now independent. I can and I have. I sincerely thank my wonderful team of support workers for the daily physio they carry out and the electrodes they fit daily. The time we spend in the swimming pool, which is definitely the best physio of all. Soon I'll be able to go into the gym using a program device to strengthen my legs, liaising with John, my neuro physio, without whose input my walking aid, I would not be walking. The electrodes initially were amazing, painful, but over time the pain disappears and I hardly notice it now. I'm able to walk without them and need them to wake up and lift my foot and lift my toes occasionally. May 2011, trip to Malinois, Burgundy, France. We set off in the car to drive down to Dover to catch a Eurotunnel to Calais on a 35-minute crossing. We are staying at a friend's old medieval farmhouse, and we know it will not be suitable for me, but I can do this and we'll have a wonderful holiday, just the two of us again on our own independent, very special. I have learnt to dress myself as part of my shoes and laces. I can manage most steps and we can walk to wherever. We managed to overcome whatever, and I so badly need us to do this together again on our own and be back to normal. We get to Moino, I'm not sure how this is somewhere in France. After a 9-hour journey involving inserting credit cards into pay machines down the auto route where the barrier stopped us passing, this was hilarious. The slots were on the left-hand side. For the left-hand drive cars, we were on the right-hand side, and I only have my right hand, which is now far out of reach. William therefore had to climb over and put his car in the slot, which was a bit of fun as well. Onwards we drive until we reach the Beyond. No idea. Moligno is a small rural village full of crumbly stone houses and attached barns, very picturesque with quite pretty meadows filled with wildflowers, Charolais cows and their beautiful calves. Everywhere we went was so peaceful, restful, and very laid back, with grapevines stretching out in beautiful valleys. The old chateau was dotted here and there, medieval fortresses and beautiful old villages with their yellow and purple irises, gardens full of roses. Très bon. I do distinctively remember, I don't know if that's where we went. We did go to the south of France, I believe, on a similar sort of chateau as a family before she was ill. It was a really nice holiday. Presumably in a similar area. I'm not sure where we went there. Very much a rural part of France, but yeah, really nice place. Presumably they went to a similar area, I guess, and that was just when it was obviously my dad and my mum. Yeah, interestingly slotted that in there. Sunday the 21st, August 2011. Matthew and Kirsty's top floor apartment in Oakham. My son Matthew and his partner Kirsty have invited us for lunch in a beautiful old coaching inn around the corner from where they live in Oakham. Due to job changes, they will be leaving Oakham soon and renting our flat nearer their jobs. Today is going to be the ultimate challenge, as there are 32 steps in the front door of the apartment, and I do want to see where they live, so I'll give it a go. I can, I must, and I do, and I will do it, and I have done it. We leave the restaurant having eaten a large roast, the sort you have a quick nod off afterwards, and it's hot. I have walked into and around the restaurant and unfortunately was feeling very tired. Should we go back to the apartment or have a look at the Belvoir Castle at Rutland Water? No, I want to, but a little fresh air. We go back to the apartment. It looks fabulous. I stand at the bottom of the stairwell, look at the size to see if the steps are too big. Yes, it's all right. I have a large, strong metal wall bars on my right hand and the strong husband on my left supporting my arm and paralysed hand. No time we were outside the door. Fabulous. Kirsty gives us the guided tour before I sit down, distinctly wanting to sleep. But now I have to walk back down the stairs and this could be risky. I stand at the top of the stairwell. Matthew tells me, remember, as if you were going on a skateboard, do not look down straight up. Good advice, as I am safe. No trouble apart from the back where my left heel catching the back of the step, as it cannot bend itself voluntarily. Even with my electronic wall ache on my right, on my left to my toes, it still catches. But that's irrelevant. So that's a really random thing to say. She didn't really wore that for training, I guess. So to her, it was just that was part of her. That's what she'd been practicing for. I'm taking it steady and only looking at the steps as if going down. You will never walk or stand again. Absolute rubbish. I didn't believe in or just believe in yourself. It has to be a long, long road. 8 years, but I am home now. 2 flights of stairs, 16 steps each, and wink, no trouble. You will never stand or walk again. How totally wrong she was. Never listen to what your heart tells you. Fine. I am home now after 8 long years. Jane Willmott is back looking good and walking more or less where she wants. Perfect. Her walking on the steps was pretty consistent with that mantra. She did get to a point where she could use a cane and pretty much tackle most steps pretty independently. A staircase would still require help, but we didn't want her falling over, and her balance was still a bit shaken. So she was good, but it was a good breeze could potentially put her in the wrong direction. So here we go. Wednesday, the 22nd September 2011. The wow factor. I am now an independent lady and off to London to a spa hotel this weekend. I am to wear my smart black dress with knee-high boots for the formal afternoon tea on Sunday. I have been to see my best hairdresser in the world, Franco Russo. Just like old times, Franco cut and styled my hair for my wedding, and now it's wow. Really smart short cut with the copper tones and red, purple, gold highlights. This will match my beautiful Italian shawl, which I will always wear. I feel fantastic and look fantastic and independent. Really back home now. Climbing in and out of the shop has been the past. Out of the shop in the past has been a huge challenge because of the slippery Italian tiles on the floor of the shop, and a huge step. But today, no problem. Straight up and out. Fantastic. The times I have found this a massive challenge are numerous, but hey, no more. Feeling very proud of yet another huge achievement in a little bit here, a little bit there, got to build up and slowly, and now it's all easy. No more standing on the step looking down thinking, how do I get out of here? But I have to. On one occasion I just frozen for, I'm going home unless I step down, do it, stop messing, you got to go, get it. You have got to get in, so now get out. Yes, I have done it, I conquered the steps. Wednesday the 12th, 2011 of October. Kings Sutton, Oxfordshire. We have been invited along to 2 other friends to visit Angela and John's second home in a Bo Peep farm for the day. We pick up Catherine and Andrew from the same village early for an expected arrival time of 11:30 a.m. We arrive after an uneventful journey on a beautiful sunny morning, and we sit around a solid wood patio furniture for pre-lunch and drinks. I managed to stand up and down on my own with no help, and to move around quite freely and easily. We enjoy a cold buffet lunch, after which 3 men in the party and Catherine depart to see John's block of land for which my husband is the consultant. Angela and I stay on our own, and I use the toilet on my very own independently and move around independently. We then sit, after others arrive, we all eat our desserts. Departing for home, we realised that for the very first time I have never used my wheelchair all day, and independent at last. I intend to enjoy making the most of this new independence and freedom I have achieved. I must push harder more and more every day. There is no doubt in my mind that twice weekly swim is an important part of my newfound balance, health, strength, and ability to walk where I want to safely strengthen my legs. Where I want safely, the strength from my legs is unbelievable. Sunday the 5th November 2011. William is out for the day pheasant shooting. Matthew and Kirsty invite me to join them in visiting the local farmers market. We leave mid-morning only to find it only had been 7 different stalls, one of which where I had ordered a spit roast lamb from for my 50th birthday. So I buy some Aberdeen Angus steaks for my dinner. We then leave and head off to Kettering to drop off Kirsty's friend. While en route to a small town to visit another country store, I feel the need to use the toilet before setting off for the store, so we decided to visit Sainsbury's, and as it was a Sunday, it was packed. Oh, Saturday, sorry. Rather than take out my wheelchair, I decided to walk into the supermarket. I was unable to see the disabled one. I used the ladies and ladies and managed to easily with no walls and bars and nothing to hold on to. Amazing, and I'm independent. We reached the country store Matthew dropped me off at in the front of the car park as it was totally full. And when I come out, I cannot see my car, but both my legs are feeling tired. I desperately need to sit down, so I sit on the yellow grip bin, wishing I'd put my mobile phone into my pocket. A lesson to be remembered in the future. I decide to walk around the corner to find my car driving on tomorrow's, and he sees me and stops, and I get in. He tells me they were concerned as to where I was and imagined I had fallen in the store. We leave and drive to stop off and have something to eat quickly. I guess it's most notable. I mean, to us, we were just trying to help her go about her daily business, but obviously to hear some of these interacting with the world again was quite a big milestone for her and her achievements. And it's pretty fair, but she was pretty good at her balance and things at that point, as she sort of says. December 2011, the 11th of December 2011, Carol service, a big walk-in. So again, this was just before Christmas. Tonight is our benefice carol service. This is a group of local churches sharing the same vicar, Duncan Beat. There's a Sunday, so we have my mother-in-law with us having a roast dinner, which I cook myself. We then get into the car and go to the Beckwith Emporium. We arrive a few minutes later than we would have wished to find the car in a park pull. Some of the writing is not with how I can read. We arrive a few minutes later than we would have wished to find the car park is full, even though it's a large area. I then decide I can walk in with my mother-in-law, who is in her 80s and a bit frail. We set off walking through the Emporium, heading for the restaurant. As I'm walking easily, and I surprise my son Matthew and his girlfriend by walking up to them, something he has never seen me do outside our home. We find a chair in front of the band and gloriously decorated 30-foot Christmas tree. To the left, people are taking advantage of the free skating session on a large outdoor rink. This included our bishop, who is in this purple robe, skating quite miraculously. I cannot but think he must have some sort of lessons. We were all singing our hearts out on the band, and after which have been complimentary mulled wine and mince pies. This all takes place underneath the twinkling stars. This is certainly a very special moment for all of us. People come from afar to take part in a new and very popular annual event. We also have a travelling crib of the benefice, which travels to those families who add themselves to the list. The list gets longer and longer each year. For a short moment in time, this is a very holy place, and it's a very way to remind us that we are celebrating Christmas. An amazing night for me, because I have actually been able to show my family that I can walk into and around where I have been go for the first time. Matthew is very protective and asked me to please be careful. Of course, but I need to move on because this possible. Of course, but I need to move on because this is possible, and I must. I soon found out this walk astounded many people who were just astonished to see me walking again, most of whom have been praying for me in their churches throughout this ordeal of mine. God has listened tonight. Thank you. Tonight I sincerely wish you a very holy and happy Christmas. Amen. The best Christmas ever. I have to say, what a lovely Christmas. My youngest son Thomas and I cooked dinner with a little bit of help from William. I have a lovely time working with my family. My indoor electric chair controller is waiting to be replaced, as it will not charge, and therefore I'm forced to walk and stand, but I can do all of this. I learnt to place 2 saucepans and trivets between the hob and sink top, take vegetables to one and then to the other, pour into the colander, and then it cuts, and it just says the 1st of January 2012, the beginning of my new independent life. Well, here we are. I have done it. During the last 2 months, I have swum like a fish. I have swum like a fish twice a week up to 27 lengths of a 25-meter pool. I am happy. Every day I wake, I can go anywhere. I can use any toilet wherever I am. Freedom at last. How fantastic. So this year is my new life to enjoy as an independent person. I cook all of my family's meals, prepare and organise my lovely dinners for all our friends, and enjoy gardening. I plan to walk around my garden and walk into one of my fields on the farm. This is one of my ultimate. This one is my ultimate. I am a country girl through and through. I love the wild hares and finches, the French partridge and the mistle thrush. with a pair of beautiful tiny wagtails hopping around every day. In the distance, I can see a pair of red kites and hear the knock-knock of a woodpecker in the evenings. He is tapping around the trees at the bottom of the garden by the lake. The sound is so nice. There's not... The not so nice sound in the morning call of the fox during the early evening. Is the morning call of the fox during early evening. Okay. We are not an organic farm, but a modern farm. We farm with our wildlife, ensuring they can live out alongside us. My grandfather created the landscape, and we are custodians for a short time. It is a privilege to be here, and I will walk and see the farm one day. I really miss our evening walks around the fields of our Labrador Jessica, watching the barn owl have his last feed of the day and looking for the field mice and shrews.